Going on, guys? I believe this will be a new little series that I'll be running. You guys in the comments and the likes on the videos will determine if I'll be bringing more of these. These will be like, so after having about 10,000 uses in Stoic, it may seem so easy and simple to me, like certain concepts, so I'm going to go ahead and go over some of these things here. These are the basics, things that your perk gives, and I'm just going to go quickly through and then go back over. The damage reduction basically is what everyone will refer to it as, and damage over time, which people also refer to that as DOT. DOT for damage over time. You get all your armor converted to HP. You have a calm ability. You've got an unpenetrable skill, and then you've got the enduring. So the first ability that this perk is actually giving you is the damage that you're taking is reduced by 75%, so therefore what you're getting hit for is 25%, and everything else is applied over time, so damage over time. You've got a hip flask is what is telling you, and it can be used immediately and be regened in 10 seconds. So from just basically what the flask is telling you, it just it negates any pending damage. So flask right off the bat, whatever damage is currently on you, the flask removes. Something that you have to understand, like right off the bat in Stoic, is that you can purely heal from the flask because of this ability. In your damage over time, when you're taking damage, is what it's telling you. If you use your flask, it's going to heal you for an additional 50%. So if I'm getting hit, all the current damage is negated. So let's say I get hit with 100 damage. I get hit for 100 damage. 100? Not like saying, without the reduction. Let's just go for just straight, numbers. If I get hit for 100 damage, that is immediately, negated. All 100 damage gone. And then plus that 50%. So 100... 50% of 100 is 150, so I'm gaining in numbers 150, right? Something like this is only in this perk. Converting all your armor to HP. This is a perk that can run any armor value, from suit to ballistic vest to the CTV to the ICTV. You can run them all comfortably and be able to use the Stoic perk. There's only a couple of other perks like that'll be able to use, certain armor types or even all armor types without having real, too much of a issue. Stoic, on the other hand, here, you won't be able to utilize armor gating, sadly, but you will be able to utilize high amounts of HP with your armor. So this is pretty, neat to the perk. The calm ability, the reason why I skipped over all this, 12 seconds damage over time thing is because of your calm ability. During your calm ability, if you take time, or not take time, if you take damage during your damage over time, it'll restart your 4 seconds. So if you get 2 ticks and get shot again, you have to wait all 4 seconds. And what I mean by ticks, you'll take 3 ticks and then the damage goes away within those 4 seconds. So you'll get hit, tick, 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 and then damage will go away because of the calm ability. Something that I want to talk about also on the calm ability is the damage that is currently on you. So if you get hit with 100 damage and the calm ability takes away, I don't know, all the way down to 75. I don't actually know the numbers, sadly, but let's say it takes you down to 75, like the damage that's presently onto you. That's what calm will heal back. Not saying it's going to give you all 100 damage back, because between those 4 seconds you're going to lose some of that damage. That's that's the logic behind that there. And I will tell you that the specific damage that they're hitting you for, the 225, gets turned into 168. That's what I will tell you as well. So if you're getting hit for 168, I believe around 120 something, I think it's like 125, 126 maybe, is when your health gets regened and calm. So getting hit for the 225 gets turned to 168, and from the 168, if you're healing from the calm ability, it's like 126. But then that's where the actual skills of the perk come into play. You have the unpenetrable. This is when you're on low HP, you're able to still stay in the fight. you're able to heal your flask faster at lower HP forms, which I will be showing how you can really use this in a Frenzy Stoic later, and how you can use this in normal Stoic. Anytime that you're at low life, you can still fight. And then once again, the Enduring, you get extra, points for your heals. And that's just going over what the perk itself does. These are the skills that I'm personally using on this specific Stoic. The Hostage Taker, so when your calm ability, you lose a bit of HP per, pieces of the HP, this will be giving your HP back, Hostage Taker. Every 5 seconds, a percentage of heals. 4.5 percentage, since we have it aced. This right here gives us 69 HP in numbers. In percentage, it'll give you a 30% onto your base HP. So your base HP is always 230 in every perk, so you will always get 69 HP from Partners in Crime. So 369 is what this build runs. We use this for reloading, we use Die Hard for the HP, damage reduction. That right there is to make me more tanky in certain situations. This is when I'm fighting, this is when I'm healing somebody or fixing something. I bring ammo since I don't need the use of first aid kits because calm ability, flask, and hostage taker. People that normally use Stoic are too inexperienced is the word that I will use, and they will run around with first aid kits in Stoic. That is their crutch usually. When you run around with first aid kits in Stoic, it's usually a crutch and usually ends up going to somewhere that you don't want to be. Because when you run out, what happens? You probably go to custody. Even if you don't run out, what'll happen? You'll probably get down because you tried to place a first aid kit. The rest of the skills are mostly damage things. I grab body expertise, surefire, low blow, unseen strike, sprint skills, and that's it. You could grab martial arts as well. But that is basically the gist of my Stoic build that I currently run in a ballistic vest. We can show the other two just real quick before we show anything else here. I call this the Chad Stoic. This right here will work with the Unpenetrable skill, which is right here, the 35% lower HP. This Chad Stoic basically is an Iron Man version with Frenzy. Frenzy gives me extra damage reduction, limits my life to 30%, so therefore my Unpenetrable skill is always active, meaning my flask always gets, regen much quicker, and I have a lot of damage output in this Stoic build. This isn't necessarily weak either, because I can, demonstrate it here, shortly. This is actually a clip from a stream the other day. Some things that I just want to show you guys. This here will be able to show you how much damage you can take and then be able to survive it with the flask ability. So right here I'm able to flask, and then you use your calm ability here. It's just something. This here is another example from my stream. We're going to be showing Stoic from low life. This here is a situation that pretty much most experienced players will understand and know very well. Is your whole team is downed, you've got no Joker in your Stoic build, you've got low HP, no actual hostage taker being triggered. You'll notice the first thing I go for is a Joker here. Some other things that this small clip will show is the calm ability, being able to regen my flask on kills. It'll show you what you'll use your calm ability on versus what you'll need your flask on back to back. And I'll right here I'll explain it. So right here as I'm grabbing a Joker, I know from this amount of life that I can get shot and not need a flask. So as you notice here, I'm able to get shot and then not need a flask. This here is an instance of getting shot and needing a flask. This here is an instance of gaining my flask back through kills. I know I didn't have a flask. Now I know I have a flask. And then we get our teammates back out of jail right here, so. Calm ability once again. That's that Die Hard ability. Come from behind us? Like what? Oh. When your whole team is in jail. This is another one I grabbed from my stream, just because I like to grab something that necessarily isn't for the video. Like, I didn't go try my best for the video, I was just playing on live stream. So you'll notice this is Frenzy Stoic. The first thing I go for is a Joker, obviously, right? The thing with the Frenzy Stoic is you'll be centered around killing things. You'll notice my focus is killing. As soon as he dies, left immediately. I love it. Now this is an instance of a first aid kit, you know, Stoic versus a Stoic that knows what he's doing. In this, you know, lobby right here, we've got a guy over here on the left with first aid kit Stoic, and then we've got myself and a Frenzy Stoic. The gist of this is the Unpenetrable skill. When I use my flask to heal myself on all that damage reduction, the Unpenetrable skill will give me my flask back, you know, double, basically. Just faster than what the normal flask, 10 seconds. It'll be basically 5 seconds if I kill things. This is just, you know, showing you how it works from Frenzy standpoint. I grabbed a Joker at the beginning, which is the source of my survivability. Everything else is as you see it. I'm able to just kind of run around as I please and fight where I want to without the use of first aid kits because of the experience in the perk. Something else I want to point out in this exact build is you wouldn't use this build in, like, you know, Goat Sim or fucking, you know, something else that's a large map. Like, you wouldn't use this on a big map like Stoic Frenzy. You wouldn't use this on an open map. But you notice how tanky you are. This is the Unpenetrable skill that I'm demonstrating or attempting to. I'm just gaining a bunch of kills and using my flask over and over. Like, that's what I'm demonstrating here. And then, well, not that I was intentionally demonstrating it either. It's just what, you know, is to be demonstrated currently. This was some prime examples from yesterday's stream. How to Stoic from a 10k hour player. No, we don't die there, I promise. We don't die. This is a wait on a calm ability, and then you peek again. A shield. Crack wizard. And to kind of finish off this video kind of build thing, I'm not sure how you'd say that. But in this specific build, I'm open to any of these guns as long as I'm in the concealment range. Secondaries, I'm able to use any of these guns as long as I'm in the concealment, range. I use the 5.7 specifically in this build. You can use AK rifle, the Clarion, the UAR, the CAR 4, the JP36. All of these rifles can be used. I just specifically went with the AK rifle because I like the AK rifle. I specifically went with the 5.7 because I like the 5.7. It has the special ability to shoot through walls and shields and things like that. So it's a really strong pistol that doesn't need too heavy point investment into the pistol skills. As seen here, you don't actually need to invest into the pistol skills for this amount of damage. I have crits, which is plenty of enough damage for the pistol. It's not locked to the AK rifle. It's not locked to the 5.7 pistol. You're able to use any of these guns, any of these rifles, basically. You're able to use any SMG, able to use grenade launcher SMG if you really wanted to. This is just how I set the build up. For those of you wondering what that would look like, this is what that would look like. You'd bring an SMG and a grenade launcher. You'd either grab, the micro Uzi, one of these cross vertex, the compact 5, the spec ops. There's a whole bunch of them that you would grab here. And you could use pretty much any of these as long as you're within the concealment range. It's the only main thing that you need to go for. But like I mentioned, I'm not using those particular weapons. This is just what I go with personally. You can use anything. You can use any gun in Stoic because that is how the perk deck works. Doesn't lock you to an Isma shotgun because you're able to kill off everything at a quick pace. It allows you to kind of morph your skills around what you need them to be so that something like an assault rifle pistol build can be usable in a Stoic. I didn't forget about you guys that use first aid kits. Don't worry. This is my personal ICTB first aid kit build. If I'm going to be playing a map like, I don't know, the White House or Henry's Rock, one of those maps that are pretty rough on, the players that are in the game, this is a build that I would be bringing. Something that actually has first aid kits, has an ICTB. This is probably the most broken way to use Stoic and the most survivability way to use Stoic. The main flaw I'm going to tell you guys that is in this perk is your first aid kits. You only have 14. Once these insta regens of your life are gone, you're gonna feel like something's missing from your build. But if you play around without first aid kits, when you use a build like this, you actually won't ever really run out of first aid kits. And another thing that happens with first aid kits that I, personally don't use them that much anymore is you usually get killed because you're trying to place a first aid kit rather than fighting it out and then, not dying because your comm ability or, not dying because you got your flask back versus trying to throw down a first aid kit. I've, died numerous amount of times due to trying to place a first aid kit down in this build versus like just straight fighting people. The thing with ICTB Stoic is you may have 451 HP to like a 300 HP Stoic. You're just as tanky. You just have more HP to work with. That's just something that you have to understand with an ICTB versus like a lower version. You're not any more tanky. You just have more armor. Not more armor. You just have more life to work with, basically, is what I was trying to get to. As a 300 HP Stoic, you can get shot a numerous amount of times, and the same thing goes for the ICTB. You can get shot a numerous amount of times. You just have more HP to work with in the ICTB. This is something else that I wanted to point out and talk on in this is that getting downed in Payday isn't a bad thing. So part of your builds is seeing how you can recover. Something like this in a Stoic build, as you see, you can recover. So if you didn't notice, which what is playing out currently is what I've already showed you. And the reason I wanted to put it this way is that people that play this game and under this I don't know what you want to call it, under the standpoint of getting downed is a bad thing, it's not necessarily true. Getting downed is part of this game, and it's all about how you recover and how you can get over that down. Some things, like in this perk for example, can be really rough if you get downed. It can be you go into custody because you get downed over and over and over because you don't have enough life, or you can be an experienced player and understand how to play with no first aid kits. Basically, downs don't mean that you're a good player. Downs don't mean that you're a bad player. Downs are part of the game. There's 2 full skill trees around that, and I can show you those right now for a matter of fact, because the getting downed in this game isn't actually as people like to make it out as. People be like, you got downed, you're bad. Well, I just want to show that this right here, this whole skill tree is about getting downed. So this refills your lives. Well, why would you need your life refilled if you got downed? These all are centered around your teammates getting downed. This is, centered around giving you your life back. This is centered around healing your teammates that are downed. This is a skill for when you get killed. This is another full skill tree around getting downed. So getting downed in Payday is not a bad thing. There's 2 full skill trees that allow players to play around with getting downed. There's some players that can, work around not having to use these skills, and there's players that can work around getting downed and recovering. That's something that I just want to point out, because even after 10,000 uses of Stoic, you're not the best. Even after 100 uses, you're not the best. You're always learning, and there's always mistakes to be made. So, as I just said, after 10,000 uses of Stoic, there's still mistakes that I make, and it's all about recovery. It's one of the main things in this game is how you can recover.